What Drives Us, episode 331 for August 7th, 2019. My name is Russell Frost, and you are seeing me closer than you've ever seen me before. Yes, look at all these close-ups. We have all kinds of dynamic camera tricks. Since YouTube shut down Hangouts, we had to go to alternate means. So welcome to Skype. Thank you for Skype for providing this service. And in the next couple of weeks, we'll be finalizing some stuff. Sadly, the chat room, no chat room. I'm sorry, chat room.
We have our own chat.
Yeah, we'll miss you, and we will try and get you back as soon as we can. But once
we
again,
got some tools, right? We're gonna try to figure out.
We'll figure it out. It's going to take us a while because, except for Casey, we all learn pretty slowly. So let's look at that. Very nice. Now that just showed up over your picture, Casey. Very nice. Well, let's introduce everybody and get this show on the road. I don't know where he is on your screen. I know he's in the upper right on my screen. He has 2 Teslas, more Priuses than most people can possibly imagine. Dr. Evan Fusco, how are you?
I know. That's a Brady Bunch thing today.
That's the next trick, is going to be handing things from one screen to another. And
yeah. And my one of my Priuses, though, my daughter just got her driving permit yesterday. God help me.
If you think this is the worst thing that just happened,
You didn't ride with her yesterday. That's all I'm saying.
All I'm saying is wait for it. Says the man who has a daughter. Love you, Ashley. Next to him, at least on my screen, is our friend in Canada, armed as usual with his Diet Pepsi, Mr. Mark Coughlin.
Hello, everybody. Welcome to the show. And I have to say, What Drives Us is off to a good start because, of course, TTL didn't even get off the ground this week. So we're hoping to get it back going next week.
Yeah.
With our pants down there.
You wear pants?
On occasion.
Do you want
TTL sacrifice itself?
No. Put the camera back.
Yeah. All of a sudden, camera movement's like a big deal. It's weird. Anyway, last and certainly not least, our nomadic friend, still looking for a home in the Mid-Atlantic region, but nonetheless gainfully employed and artfully photographed, Mr.
So today I come to you from Woodbridge, Virginia, and it's an adventure. But I'm loving life.
And everyone noticed that Casey's door is in the witness protection program.
It is.
That was my theory, that Casey is in the witness protection program.
No, it's just the door.
This would explain the series of hotels.
Every time I go live, they're like, "Damn it, why did you do it?
Right?
I have to move you again."
You're supposed to use your assumed name.
Oh, yes. Oh,
anyway,
yes.
Well, we actually do have some news this week, so we're going to talk about that. And first up is a story that I found on a political site that I read at. It's from the New York Times, and it's interesting in that there's been lots of people skeptical about autonomous vehicles, and I've certainly been one of them. And one of the things that has sort of been unsaid about autonomous vehicles is how that's going to change our infrastructure. And I think most people's assumption is, I'm going to get a magic car, I'm going to tell it where to go, and it's going to go wherever it wants. And as we're finding out, as AV developers are getting further and further towards 100% goal and finding that last few percentage points, right? The hardest ones, the almost intractable problems, which pretty typical kind of problem solving development curve. We're hearing from AV developers that, well, they just need little changes, little tweaks in the infrastructure. This particular article suggested that there would be gates on all the streets that would hold the pedestrians back, physically hold them back, so they didn't get in the way of the autonomous vehicles when the autonomous vehicles had the right of way. This is sort of an old spin, or a new spin on an old thing, which is jaywalkers. Jaywalkers are evil, and jaywalking is an interesting crime. The idea that like human pedestrians somehow are less important than humans in automobiles has always been an interesting concept to me. California, where I live, certainly has taken that another step where pedestrians always have the right of way. Although that's less and less true than it used to be. I got to tell you, being back here now, you get in the wrong street, you're dead meat here. There's a lot of people in a hurry these days. Anyway, and I thought this is sort of another strike on autonomous vehicles. Will this problem be solved? Someday, maybe. But I think it's a lot further away than most people really appreciate.
Mm-hmm. Well, it's interesting you say about the gates, that this is like so people are blocked in until the autonomous vehicle goes by, or until, say, a light turns green. People are behind a gate and have to follow that particular order, that they got to stay behind a gate or behind a barrier before the light changes. But that's interesting. It doesn't work in practical means. Like what are you going to do? Install gates along the entire length of a road? Like, that's not going to happen. The cost would be crazy. Just the cost, let alone people hopping the gates and running across anyways. But
so if the gate is up and you go around it, you're liable.
Well, regardless, you still have people hopping gates. Like what that reminds me of, say, downtown Las Vegas, or the Strip in Las Vegas, where they put up actual cement barricades along the roadside and force everyone into escalators that go up and across the roads.
Yeah.
So there's not only that, there's iron gates, there's everything that blocks people from even stepping foot onto a road. You have to go up an escalator and cross every road in that fashion.
But I thought what I took away is interesting is the fact that they, the reason they think the gates would be necessary is because of the learned behavior of humans, recognizing that since when a car is driven by a human that might be texting on their cell phone, they might not notice them jaywalking and smash right into them and kill them. But then suddenly when it's autonomous vehicles, they gain this confidence. Well, fuck it, they're not gonna crash into me because it's controlled by a computer that'll always stop. And then there will be instead of people waiting patiently to cross, as soon as the first person stepped out, everybody's just going to follow along like sheep, and they're going to continually block the roadways because they know these cars are never going to hit them, and they have no obligation to stop. Or at least with a gate, maybe get one idiot that's going to jump in and say, screw it, I don't really care. But you're probably not going to get, everybody in their, business suits jump in the gate at the same time to accomplish that. So just like the barricades in Las Vegas, you can jump the barricade, and I'm sure people do, but the vast majority of people recognize that as a means of corralling them into a certain area so that the flow of traffic can do what the flow of traffic is supposed to do, and the flow of humans can do what the flow of humans is supposed to do. But yeah, it's interesting theory. I don't know if it would actually get that bad, chaotic. I don't know.
What if you get stuck on the other side and like a animal drowning in a pool, like a insect or something?
You're on the wrong side of the gate. Try.
I'm going back on the sidewalk.
Mad Max comes barreling down.
You ought to design communities, Casey. That's all I have to say.
Absolutely. Communities that I never even want to visit. I'm sorry.
Right. So with that whole learned behavior bit, I constantly have people cut my Tesla off while we're running down the freeway. I don't know if they're just hoping that I will be paying attention, but they don't know whether I have autopilot or not. And if I don't, regular cruise control will run you through.
People cut off your car in the freeway?
That's what I'm saying. Is I don't know if it's any different, or if they know it's a Tesla and they jump in at the last possible second.
I suspect it's no different. I've driven on the freeways around, well, I can't speak to South Carolina, but I can speak to, mid-Atlantic area, and yeah. Bumper cars, my friend, bumper cars.
So, sometimes they are a little more polite about letting you merge in, though. I've noticed this.
That's good. That's good.
Especially with the amount of traffic.
I think the thing to really think about here is again, aside from the important point that Evan brings up, which the phrase transformative societal changes from that article sticks in my head. But keep in mind, the things that we're going to have to do, there's going to be a cost to them, and they're going to be significant. Standardization of signs, standardization of markings and things like that, so that autonomous vehicles don't have to literally know everything in the world. Yeah. Right now we're used to putting up a signboard or some cones or something else, and that may or may not work. Those things are going to have to adapt if we're going to have autonomous vehicles that are less than 100% on the road.
Yeah. And I think that's true. And not only having signs that are consistent, but, probably highway markers, your orange road cone are probably going to have a chip in them that talks to the cars. And the cars are able to sense that what's going on, and it provides direction and instruction of where to go and what to do. I think there's a lot, and it is transformative, but ultimately it's going to be safer, right? There's going to be a lot of aches and pains getting there, but when the road cones can talk to your car, and other cars can talk to your car, and street lights can talk to your car, and they can all work together, it's got to be better, right? I mean, at some point.
So
too many people dying.
Or does it all just become noise?
I don't think it'll
like. I think it's going to be a while before they can all talk together. It's going to be a lot of individual things can talk to this, but it can't talk to that. And this thing partially talks, but not completely. Like I can see that. There's no way a standardization is going to come out of the gate with them all talking to each other.
No, absolutely. I mean, we can't even get standardized EV charging, right? I mean,
yeah.
So exactly. I saw a tweet, and it said the final exam for EV, or not for EV, but for autonomous driving, and it was a street. It was a T intersection, and across the street there was a sign that said no left. Another sign said no right. One was older. One was older than the other, but then the paint on the pavement said, one said right turn, the other said left turn only. And again, but it was the opposite paint was newer, so you couldn't judge by the newness of the paint. And then there were two more signs closer to the stop sign that said must right, must left.
Yeah. The freeway that I drive most every day between right by where I live, I noticed this near there's an off-ramp, a 2-lane off-ramp, and someone has temporarily painted solid and dotted white lines, like literally crossing 3 lanes. And I'm thinking, how is a car going to read that? You know what I mean? Like it would be, the car's it's not going to work. So again, there's a lot. I think there's so much more stuff than we really fully appreciate that's going to have to change. And this brings me to my ultimate point in bringing this up. What we need are less cars on the road, more mass transit options that don't involve drivers, and that will also make things safer. When we're spending billions on infrastructure, that's a huge part of where that money should go, in my opinion.
How are you going to change the world to do that?
I'm going to change the world to make it safe for AVs.
Yeah. It's the personal mobility that's driving this. I cannot see people giving up their cars to drive a better mass transit system.
5:30.
Whoa.
It's 5:30.
It's 5:30, everybody.
So to beat the traffic,
that autonomous time piece there.
I think that's a fair point, Mark. I'm not ignoring the idea that the seismic change that I'm suggesting. I would suggest that there was a time in our society's life when you took the train or you rode a horse.
Yep.
Yeah.
And personal mobility wasn't the entitlement that it is today. I'm not saying that cars are bad. I'm saying cars are the problem. And part of the thing that we should be working on is putting less vehicles on the road, not just smarter and safer vehicles, but fewer vehicles on the road. That will make them safer and giving people options that are very safe. Some dude driving a train, and then of course something horrible happens, and my whole argument. But
Yeah.
that's not really a strong anti-argument, in my opinion.
So I think that this computer ability to navigate is going to surprise us with, because it's going to feel like it was overnight, because we see how bad they are today. And like you said, it's going to take a long time before all of the edge cases are ironed out. But like driving this loaner Tesla that I managed to finally obtain, I've got it in autopilot, running down the road, and we come across some of the intersections where they have painted the dotted lines in the curve so that people don't switch lanes in the middle of their left-hand turn. And it sees that, and it tries to change the lanes. It's just like, oh, I'm not allowed to go there. And sometimes it figures it out, and sometimes I have to intervene. But then, when the new stuff comes out, watch it just, not have a problem with it. But they didn't know about the trucks that had the signs on them that go by. Basically, the trucks that transport the road signs to the site where they get installed. They didn't know how to determine bicycles at first, and now they do.
All edge cases, right? All things that they discover as if they're tracking when autopilot goes off and when it goes off by itself. And they're hopefully going back into those tapes and reviewing it and saying, well, the reason it went off was because of this. We didn't expect those lines to look like that. How do we solve for it?
Yeah, so like with the example with the bicycle, they finally got it to recognize a bicycle, but it was too good. It was like anytime there was a bicycle mounted to the back of a car, it would start slowing down and trying to avoid the cyclist. So they said, all right, if the bicycle is sideways, it's moving with the car, you can ignore that. Stuff like that. But yeah, so to Russell's point, there are too many. We've built our society around cars. There are too many of them, and I think that having less of them will make it easier for the computer, and having them be driven by a computer and like the fleet concept will make it so there's just less of them, even more so.
But you will have a revolt on your hands trying to limit the amount of cars that are on the road.
You can't limit it. You got to have it be an incentive for them to want to choose to do that.
Yeah, because the personal freedom aspect of it is so weaved into it at this point that you can't separate it.
Yeah,
things change. And not to go in the political realm, but I posted something on Facebook that I thought was interesting. When I was in high school, which was 40 years ago, because my 40th class reunion was this weekend. We used to go to Mexico all the time because it's great. It's cheap, and you're 18. You can drink beer. It's a wonderful thing. And I remember the first time I saw a group of federales, dudes in the total military garb, the balaclavas, the submachine guns. I'm like, holy shit, can you imagine living like that in the United States?
Yeah.
Can you imagine? Can you imagine? Because, here we are 40 years later, and we got dudes in balaclavas and full military gear and full auto assault rifles that are here to protect us. And I'm not saying they're not. I'm just saying, wow, that's a big change, because that wasn't the U.S. cop of 40 years ago.
I mean, so many police departments have tanks and APCs. That would never been seen years ago.
Absolutely. I get that it's a huge change. I definitely am in no way ignoring or not acknowledging that. But I think it's a change that we can make for the better. And if that's shared vehicles or autonomous vehicles or whatever, the fewer number of individually owned vehicles in the long term, the better.
So somebody brought up a point. They said that children born today will be as likely to drive themselves and know how to drive themselves as people today are to know how to drive a manual transmission automobile.
Yeah. We'll see. Yeah.
Maybe.
We'll see. Right, because
there's definitely a declining interest in driving. I mean, I had to scare my boys into getting their driver's license and learning to drive. They really didn't have any interest at all, and I'm like, you have to drive. I can't go on like this. I can't take you everywhere forever.
Yeah.
You know, and
you just had to cut off the dad taxi, and they would have wanted their license.
But we live in a part of the country that things are far away, and there's no possibility that we're going to have enough public transit to get people anywhere. But certainly, I think as metropolis areas and suburban areas grow and have much more availability, kids' interest in learning to drive is going to wane. And why should they? Why bother? I don't want a car. I'm not going to be able to park it where I'm going to school. I'm not going to be able to park it when I'm working in New York City. Why do I need that? It's definitely declining.
Yeah, I mean, I got my permit as soon as I could, but I didn't get the license until 18. There was no incentive, and then it was like, oh shoot, I'm out of the house. Let me go and get that license now.
And none of my kids have ever driven a car with a automatic or manual transmission. They've all driven
all CVTs.
CVTs are up.
or pure EV. Yeah.
Wow. There's a generational change. Well, let's go to our next story, and for that creepy story, we're going to go to Mark Coughlin.
Creepy.
Here we go. I'm going to try to share the screen. Are you guys seeing it?
No.
Yeah.
Ooh.
Uh-oh. This is all new software.
All new,
There
folks.
you go.
Look at that.
Okay, so we talked about this before with the Tesla autonomous snake. Well, it turns out Tesla isn't the only one that's looking for autonomous charging. Electrify America is now working on this little robot that is going to plug into a car and charge up an autonomous vehicle that needs a charge at one of their stations. So you can see the line is basically running from the machine onto this. You've got a camera up top with a light that will line up the plug correctly, apparently. Although I haven't seen any videos of this in action, and of course, with all the different types of cars and the different charging areas for each of these cars, and the different types of doors that are in front of these charging ports, there's a whole mess of things that they've got to come up with in order to make this a universal charging. They can't just make it for one vehicle like Tesla can. They've got to make it work for a dozen brands and ones that are still coming out. So it'll be interesting to see, but they are working on it. They've teamed up with a group. What was the group? It was oh darn, I had it there.
Black and VTech.
VTech, yeah, Black and VTech. Yeah, the engineering group that are putting this sample together. But again, there's no video of it running at this point. Just this standard snapshot of it.
Still the screen share, but tell me that's not PVC pipe. Come on,
It
I
looks like
dare you.
PVC pipe. Yeah, it does.
It could be, and those silver straps look a lot like hose clamps.
Yeah. Poser.
So like you mentioned, you've got a bunch of different like the doors, powered, unpowered, manual, and if it's manual, it's a flip up, flip down, slide left, slide, flip right, and then on the DC fast charge, like Tesla doesn't have a flap. Some people have a flap and it flips to the side. Some people have a flap and it flips down. On top of the DC lugs on the fast charger. And then what about cars like Tesla that have an adapter? So now you can plug into the adapter. And does the human do that, or do you put it on the nozzle for the robot and the robot handles it, or what?
And then of course the ultimate here. This is a combo charger. So guess what? You need two. You need two robots. One for CHAdeMO, one for CCS.
Well, yeah, but ideally it would have a hand and it would go and grab the right charger and plug it in, right? I mean,
not as shown.
No, not this particular one, but yeah.
I mean, that would be.
Yeah, that would be best.
Me, the easiest.
And but it would still need two hands, because if you have the CHAdeMO adapter, it would need to lift that little dangly thing and then put them together.
So I have a question for the panel. Without using the acronym AV or the word autonomous, why do we need this?
Well,
So
I think that it is purely for the autonomous. I mean,
Not
it
just
really
that.
is. I mean, when the fleets are going and charging and stacking up and move themselves off and parking for the night.
Well, not just that. You've got say you're watching a movie. Your movie's gonna take longer than the charge. You're now blocking the space. So even if there's like a spatula that moves your car out of the way, another one comes in,
Let
and
me see.
then you've got apartment complexes and other multifamily situations. Go ahead, Russell. Sorry.
No. This is so ridiculous on the face of it that I can't take it seriously. I just I don't there's so many problems. Like you said, you open the door. Let's say you know how to open the door, and there are different kinds of doors. You open there. Oh, damn, there's that little plastic cap on top. Now you've got to. And do you pry it straight off? Do you yank it off? Does you pull it off and does it drop on the ground? And if it does, do you lose that cap forever?
That's gone.
So I think the obvious thing is it circles us right back to the previous conversation about standardization. We need to figure out what we're going to do with EV charging infrastructure and need to simplify that down to one or two options. And then design wise, I mean, everybody ought to have a flap that opens the same way, and it should have a cover or not have a cover, or if it has, so that the robots can be designed.
It doesn't have to open the same way, but it should have the same clearance and the same, the way, like you said, the robot knows to get out of the way. So it can still be pretty, but if the robot comes in, it's not going to break your flap.
Or Electrify America just says, you know what, everyone's got to buy a VW product.
Yeah.
I can solve this problem with another
everybody.
story, but it's not going to be a story from 40 years ago in my youth. The story is one word: Flufferbot. This is Flufferbot. Okay,
bring back from retirement.
Over automating something. If you want to fix this problem, pay humans to monitor charging stations and plug cars in.
New Jersey,
absolutely. Oregon, same, absolutely.
Oregon quit though. Jersey.
Pay a human to stand there and plug cars in and unplug them when they're done and wave the next car in or contact the driver. That's what I can solve that problem today, right now.
You can still have the spatula. It gets the car out of the way and then puts the next one in and he plugs it in.
Sure, whatever. That's fine too.
Yeah.
So again, then this is let's apply technology to make a creepy robot that's going to have some kind of freaky intercourse with your car, hopefully, and replace all the things in the right places when it's done. And I'm going to pass. So if you're playing the Russell drinking game, you're already wasted. Wait for the next.
So if you've got a Tesla plug, Catamo, or the China plug, you are good. If you've got anything else, this bot will not work for you.
Yeah, it is not a short road. This is going to be done over and over and over until there's more standardization.
Yeah. Casey, let me ask you a question. Who's going to change the standard plug, Tesla or everybody else?
Well, see what happened in Europe is Tesla changed.
Good point. Very good point. No, I totally forgot about that. And you're right. They did. I just usually Tesla's so intransigent about making changes. Even worse
in China, they changed too. So you had this gas flappy looking thing on the side of the car and the taillight thing went away. Yeah. So you had the Tesla plug and then you had the China plug and they're next to each other. It was insane.
Okay, Mark, I hijacked your story.
Sorry.
Nope, that's it. It's something that like we said before, many are going to be working on the autonomous problem. Will it be solved in any time in the near future? I don't believe so. I think there's going to be a number of iterations that are going to have to come through, and as Evan said, more standardization is going to happen before it even makes sense.
I would really, and I know this again, maybe I'm just being like an old romantic or something, but I love the idea of having humans at these charging stations, even if they're juicing up AVs, like just the idea that there's someone there who can make sure that everybody's good, nobody's doing anything rude. Hey, guess what? A Ford F-150 just pulled into ICE one of the stations. There's a dude there is like, no, not going to happen. I'm going to call a tow truck right now.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like,
If you step out of that vehicle, sir, I'm calling the tow truck.
right. Right here. I'm calling it right now. So you don't get
Yeah.
even 30 seconds of your little fun.
Yeah.
We are so reticent to have people doing things.
So since I'm in DC, I want to take you back about 15 years now, 20 years. They had a station by Shell that would automate your filling. You pull in, and it would gasoline up your car. But there were so many different ways to do it. So first they decided that if you had the filler behind your license plate on the back of the car, you were out. It didn't work. And then they decided, all right, well, we're going to put a sticker on your windshield, on the lower left of your windshield or lower right, whichever it was, that basically encoded for the robot to know where to go to look for the fuel filler. All right. So now it knows how to go there, it knows how to open the door. What if you've got a locking gas cap? So they just gave up.
Didn't take them long.
That was with the standard port. They tried for like a year, and then they gave up. Standard port.
So the advantage is that EV technology is still relatively new and evolving, and there's opportunity for some standardization that is long gone in gasoline, I think.
The other problem is if the gas missed it by a little bit, it would spark, and then that was
it. Sorry, that was my dramatic hamster. Wow. People aren't bad. You can hire people and use humans, and they can solve complex problems all on their own. Even people making minimum wage, monitoring a charge station.
But it's tough to get VC dollars for that solution.
Sure it is. And you know what? That's a good reason to run down the VC supported business model. Look at Uber and Lyft and what they're doing.
Yeah.
Okay. They are literally in some cases decimating mass transit in cities and clogging up roads with their cars. But yay, it's a VC supported solution, and they lose money on every ride, but someday it'll be everywhere.
And then when they finally go out of business, now everything is gone because the taxis are gone. The municipalities' buses and trains are gone, and nobody can pick it up because they run out of town.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, it's what the big boxes did to local retail.
Yeah.
And then the big box goes out of business, and all of a sudden everybody's like, well, ding dang, I got to drive 35 miles to a hardware store. Well, you should have supported your local business.
Yeah.
Which isn't to say that local business is always great, but anyway, Let's not go down that rabbit hole. Mark, anything else on that?
That's it.
Okay, drinkers, get your glasses ready, because it's just going to be just take it, empty it. Okay. A source that I don't use very often, Jalopnik, I don't like, and I don't like them for a lot of reasons that I think are super good. But there was a story last week about the Boring Company and about Las Vegas. The Boring Company released some drawings of their plans for the Vegas Convention Center tunnel thing. And
trash enclosure.
To call them cartoons is to insult everyone who's ever made a cartoon, including like 9-year-old Russell who made a flip book. Okay.
I love that they drew in a trash can.
Yeah. When one of the details is inexplicably a trash can, how do I tell you that this is not going to happen? That this is a $49 million boondoggle, and it makes no sense at all.
So, if there's only one tunnel and not two tunnels, does the Model X run at 150 miles an hour in reverse? I mean, I know it can, but is that the solution for the tunnel?
Right. It's a mile-long tunnel.
Yeah.
Excuse me, a 0.8 mile. It's an 0.8 of a mile tunnel.
Yeah.
Yeah, you're not getting up to 150.
They could put in like one of those sidewalks.
Yeah.
Maybe that's the solution. Just build a slide.
Ooh, a slide. Like a really fast slide.
That's right. Yeah. Put some lights around it. Really freak people out. They'd love it.
See all these convention attendees with briefcases and bags and stuff.
Just hop on the slide. Woo!
All right, slide 8.7 to slide 8.12. Okay.
Oh my God. I don't know.
I can't believe that they drew a trash can in the model. Like, who said that was a good idea? Like, maybe we should put a trash can here. No, draw it in. It should be here.
You see what happened is they didn't think about the trash cans at the supercharger stations, and look where that got them.
They learned.
Good point. Good point.
I don't know what to say. I mean, this is so silly. It's so out of control, crazy. Again, to me, this is like the last story. Like, you don't need a robot. You have things here that can do this and don't need millions of dollars of development and manufacturing and deployment. Put people there.
So are they still using Model X? Are they going to make a custom vehicle? Or like the story keeps changing with how they plan to do this.
Yeah, apparently that's not in the drawings.
I see this.
Uh-huh.
Right. Is it a pod?
So this isn't a Hyperloop, but it's not a regular boring tunnel. So this is local loop. He needs another presentation.
Las Vegas
to help us wrap our heads around it.
Traffic, is that all it is?
What was the monorail episode of The Simpsons?
Exactly.
That's what this is.
The monorail can.
That's what this
I hope he does. I hope he does it though, because like his whole idea of the smaller diameter tunnel and keeping people off the surface, like he said, reducing the congestion above, because we got all this space for the stuff we don't need to worry about below ground. I love the concept.
I gotta believe that they've got something up their sleeve. Like, I cannot believe that they signed a contract, and the thought is we're going to put a Model X, maybe 2, in a single tunnel. I just cannot believe that that's the solution here. It's got to be something else.
Every 8 minutes, the direction switches.
Yeah, I can't see that. Like, if you show up every half hour, it switches. So, if you get there a little bit late, you got to wait 30 minutes for the ride to switch to go back the other way.
0.8 of a mile.
Where is this exactly? Can you tell what resort that
is? It's between the Las Vegas Convention Center.
Yeah.
Between if it weren't 1,000,000 degrees out, you could walk it.
South Halls.
Yeah. It's between the new expansion and the old center. It's 2 blocks.
Yeah.
Essentially. I mean, well, okay, they're Vegas blocks, so it's like 4 regular blocks, but
I can understand the need for it. I get the need that you want to be able to move people quickly, and through an underground tunnel makes a lot of sense because it blocks out everything. It's more direct. You just go down, you pop up, in a straight line in the other place. I get it. It makes sense that way. It's just what we've seen to this point as to what can deliver people in that tunnel has been a Model X. And I just can't see that working.
And a pair of Model 3s.
And a pair of Model 3s as well. But I just can't see that being the solution.
If they did it with bumper cars, I would approve. Okay.
Now, I'm probably dating myself, but back when I was a kid, they would have grocery stores where you would put your groceries in a bucket, and the bucket would go on like a rolling conveyor, and it would roll out to the parking lot. No. That's what they could do. Everyone gets in a bucket, and they roll down like into the other place.
Like the sushi carousel.
Exactly.
Is that a Canadian thing? Because I've never even heard of that.
Casey was nodding, so I got to believe he knows what I was talking about.
Groceries on a roller thing?
Yeah, like you buy the groceries in the store.
I've never seen it, but I've heard of it.
And then I've heard of there's it. There's like a conveyor belt, but like rollers. There was a conveyor belt of rollers, and you would put your groceries in these boxes, and they would just roll out by gravity out under the store, under the parking lot, and then it would pop up in a place where you can pick them up in the middle of the parking lot.
That's my shock face. I've never heard of that. That's amazing. I would want to shop there just so I could see my groceries rolling down the conveyor. That is me. I am that loser. Oh, cool. Let's do it again just for the hell of it.
I'm gonna buy a bag of chips and let it go.
Yeah, exactly. I gotta go back and buy one thing. So
I
let me
forgot
make
the
the
chewing gum.
let me make the prediction now, and it just comes from me, not everybody, not the whole show. One person's opinion. This is not going to happen. Okay, this is not going to happen.
So, is this a private entity between two of their properties?
No, this is the city of Vegas is the one contracting the
Oh,
boring.
never mind. You're probably right. Never mind.
Yeah,
If it was some hotel, then yeah, definitely.
yeah. If you're wondering, like, wow, how does that happen? Like, this seems kind of crazy. How does this, dude? You have no idea. Like, unless you dig into Vegas politics, I mean, we're talking like the people that have run Vegas historically make a lot of other municipal governments look really slick.
Perhaps they got a really good deal. It's kind of like the mega battery. You know,
Well, they
you
did.
can't do it in a month. If you
Yeah,
can't do it in a month, it's free.
The Boring Company's bid for this was the lowest.
Yeah.
Oh.
So they picked the lowest bid that came in. And when you see that you get 2 trash cans, you can understand why you got the lowest bid. But
you only got 2 trash cans out of it. You needed 12.
Again, I gotta believe there's something we're not seeing here. I have to believe that.
No.
Free Tesla for all the board members.
It's the classic Elon fast hustle. Hey, I can solve that problem for less than anybody else. Now wait, you guys draw something up really quick. Okay, here are the drawings. Look, we can do it.
No.
Yes.
Elon has come out with a number of ideas. You're right. A lot of them don't come out on time. A lot of them take a number of reconfiguring going on. But he does have the proper idea in almost all cases.
Battery swap.
He tried it. He got it to
he didn't.
He tried
did it so he could get the extended carb credits.
Yeah.
As soon as that went through, he dropped that thing like.
Okay.
No,
Fair enough. But there's no credit involved in this tunnel build.
Cash into his checkbook.
Keeps the Boring Company going for another 6 months because they got a job. I'm sorry. If he was digging tunnels for rational things, if it was a tram or a subway or something, I'd be like, okay.
That's what I'm saying.
Sense.
That's what I'm saying, though. I hope there's some sort of tram. I hope there's something other than a Model X or 3 that they're going to shove in this tunnel.
Well, I get what he's saying about how it could be more successful in a subway after reading a history of the New York subway. But, like you said, the vehicle can't be a Model X and still achieve that vision. Unless it's a Model X XL and it's got like 20 seats in it.
Okay, people, we're moving 6 at a time. Everyone get in groups of 6, and we're going to move you. And then, of course, as the vehicle goes one way, no vehicle can come back. We got to wait for it to come back. And, of course, he's not coming back until we get 6 more on that end of the tunnel. Right. Because we want to use things efficiently.
Yeah.
Have any of you guys ever been to CES?
Yeah.
No, thankfully.
No.
Okay, so I mean, like Mark, in the last 10 years you've been there with like significant
12 years.
12 years ago. Okay, I mean, it's been a long time for me too, but 100,000 or more people, and when the buses load up at the end of the day at CES,
it's absolutely insane with the amount of people.
It's crazy.
Yeah.
And we're talking vehicles that take 60 people at a crack.
Yeah. And it hardly dents the line.
Yeah.
So having a vehicle that's moving 6 people is just not going to cut it. Not at all.
Well, this is why there's an 8-minute turnaround. You actually have 120 Model X's that go through.
Oh, I got to believe there's something else, guys. We'll have to wait and see. But I really hope there's something else we're not seeing yet.
I hope he gives us a hint at some point before the thing gets started.
Let's talk about something I can be positive on. How's that for a change? Yes, Russell, please, for the love of God, be positive about something. I'm sorry?
That's all right.
Green Tech Media reported at the end of July a really, really great thing. The city of Glendale, which is a suburb of Los Angeles, suburb I used to live in actually, so I'm kind of a little love for Glendale, has dropped plans to build a gas peak generator in favor of a portfolio of clean energy, of different sustainable solutions. Yay!
That's good. That's very good.
What do we always say here? The grid can only get cleaner.
Yes.
Gas will never get cleaner. The grid, and here is a perfect example of a city making a great decision, not building a natural gas generator, going with other sustainable energy solutions to power their city. That is so awesome. That's me being positive, very positive.
I keep waiting for the other foot to drop.
No, I don't
That's
care
it?
what it costs. I don't care how many people they kill. It doesn't matter to me. If they're killing puppies to make the stuff, it's all good.
Oh my gosh.
Oh, no.
No? Did I say something wrong? Oh, is this another show title?
Positive Russell.
I had to go there, didn't I? I'm sorry. I'm sorry.
Where did you get killing puppies from?
Well, you can't you burn puppies to generate electricity?
You certainly can.
No? Or is that kitties? Maybe it's kitties. They have more fur.
You're just alienating
The show title,
everyone with the
Burning
viewership.
Puppies.
No, don't put that. Don't put that. Put Positive Russell.
We've already had a killing puppy show title, actually. So
That's already been done.
yeah. Have you
All right,
watched
then.
our show, Evan? It's not nice sometimes. So that's all I got. Yay, City of Glendale. Yay, cleaner grid. Yes, this actually does happen and can happen and will happen more as time goes forward. And that's a good thing because it means our homes are powered by cleaner energy. It means our vehicles are powered by cleaner energy. This is a great step forward. Minus the puppies.
Any batteries in this?
Yes, batteries are part of it. But they've
you don't want it to be all of it.
Said no Tesla batteries.
There's other people that
I'm
have
totally
batteries for the
kidding.
grid.
I'm sorry?
There's other people that have batteries for the grid. I was actually going to suggest, did they go with Tesla or Nissan or Mercedes or one of the grid scale people to make some batteries? So obviously solar is going to be part of it. What else is going to be in there?
Part of it is a 75 megawatt, 300 megawatt hour Tesla battery installation.
Oh, wow.
So there you go. What else? God, I have to go back and look now. You're going to make me read the article? Come on. Yeah. So Tesla's part of that. And that's a great thing. Nothing wrong with that. Batteries are a really good idea, especially for peak demand, right?
Yeah. Or sun at night.
Or at night. But
well, I mean, if you have like something like a windmill in a place where it's not always windy, you need something to get you through the low periods. The sun doesn't shine at night generally, so same thing.
There you go. Yeah. Anybody else?
Nope. Good news.
Wow, you guys are really like I say something about puppies and you all jump on me, but that no, it is good news.
We'll all agree. It's good stuff. We need it.
I would love one of these stories every week. Hey, another city has done this. Another city has done this. That's up to you. All of you who watch and listen to this show too. Be that change in your local municipality. Speak out for this stuff. Support it. Vote for it. Vote for candidates that support it. That's how you make things better. The presidential thing is important, but
one community at a time.
Yeah, local stuff starts
local.
Yeah. Well,
we literally clean up. Put solar in your house.
I love this picture.
Yeah.
Because it kind of looks like dinosaur poop. And that's just a visual for all of you who can't see the picture.
I'm about to show those. Yeah, I'll get it.
We did a story like 3 weeks ago about how lithium was going to be a problem and it was going to be scarce and it was going up in price and oh my God. And then a week ago, I started seeing stories about oh, wait, lithium prices are going down. There's more lithium than we need. There's a whole bunch of lithium. Lithium isn't that uncommon.
It's the third most common element in the universe.
Well, there you go. I was going to say
That
something about
sounds a lot like a Toyota commercial, but
Yeah,
where
I
they
just-
get hydrogen from.
Oh, God.
Hydrogen's everywhere.
Yeah. So this is like any commodity. It goes up and it goes down, right?
Yeah.
But is this overproduction? Is this people seeing the boom in battery technology, and of course all these batteries are taking lithium as a major part of the makeup. So many different lithium processing facilities have got involved, come online, and now they're starting to produce more and more and more. And of course, at some point, you're above what they can sell. And now you're starting to stockpile it. So yeah, things can turn on a dime, I would imagine, because lithium, as it's actually produced, it's basically produced in pools, is it not? And then it's like dried and into a powder, and then they kind of scrape it off, and then they fill the pool again, and they start the process again. I don't know about the timelines.
It's called lithium salts, and
Yeah,
you mine it the same way you do sea salt and table salt.
Yeah, so
That's what came to mind.
It's not a complex procedure. It's something that can be done on mass scale, and of course, as more and more of these processes start up, there's just more of the product available.
Yeah, this
Yeah,
reminds
especially
me exactly of salt.
Yeah, it is salt. Yeah.
Yeah, it is.
So,
It is salt,
Yeah. So same thing though. Like we heard all these tales about, oh, it's so hard, it's so rare, it's so blah blah blah. Everybody else says profits. I can get in this, and now you've got too many, and the price falls, and the availability is there.
There are some things that are truly hard to get. Cobalt is probably a better example of something that is more difficult to get and less common. But again, not necessarily an unsolvable problem. And these things, I think sometimes these things are used to say, oh, we can't, this clean technology is horrible and we can't do it. It's going to be too expensive or da, da, da. And, again, as Casey just very eloquently said, it's expensive. A whole bunch of people get in there seeing a profit and boom, the price comes down.
Right. And then you've got the problem, of course, that if a group or a number of groups go bankrupt or get out of it because it's not profitable anymore, then when the demand comes, it's scarce again. So it's this market weighing out of demand and production, and that's not uncommon with anything in today's world,
especially any sort of commodity, even a really expensive commodity.
Yeah.
Evan,
so
what do you
they
think?
They say the price went down about 30% in a bump, and then like that could ruin a number of companies at any point. If your product drops in value by 30% overnight, like that's huge.
Yeah, I think when people look at the numbers, they look at the demand and they look at the supply initially, and then they can write an article about fear. Look, so there's not enough supply to meet the demands, and we're going to have all this trouble. Well, that's not taking into account the market that's going to go, we see the demand, we're going to help increase that supply and do what needs to be done. And so, I don't know. Everybody gets dramatic. Looking at the moment, they do. It's like what matters to a business? A quarterly report, right? Now, hardly ever does anybody look at the long term, benefits. Yeah, we're going to take some quarterly losses, and it's similar here. And it's if you want to write a hyperbolic news story, you're going to look for the worst case scenario.
But these quarter to quarter, they ruined so much. They need to find another way to do it than quarter to quarter.
Yep.
But it's a view like this. I see the world.
Yeah, so it's like this, like you're seeing the whole thing.
Yeah. When really what they want to do is step back and look at the whole landscape from 50 feet up.
Fuzzy back landscape. Yes.
Nice. Well, gentlemen, I think that wraps it up for the day, unless anybody else has one more thing. Mark Coughlin says no. Evan Fusco says no. Casey Green?
So I've got a tale of the Tesla Uber experience. As soon as I return this rental car that I conned out of them, I will I will update you.
Oh, is this an upcoming story? Okay, wonderful.
Yeah. So right now, if you are local, or in the case of the DC metro area, whether you're local or not, you get Uber credits instead of a loaner car, rental car, a free ride home, or you're encouraged to rent your own car at your own dime. And I managed to get a Model S 75D about a week into the ordeal, and it'll be fun.
Yeah,
Stay tuned.
nice.
I'll either put it here or
with
I'll
that,
put
sir.
it on my channel. So
Ah,
or both.
and Casey's going to plug that in just a minute. Speaking of plugs, visit us at at youtube.com/whatdrivesus. There you can read my story of one of the least fuel efficient vehicles on the planet, but nonetheless the most fun per mile, the Lexus LC500. You have no idea how much fun that car is to drive. No clue. Anyway.
I'll have to watch it because I'm not imagining it right now.
Yeah, it's a lot of fun, and I know it's not electric, and I know it's not as fast. I get that, but yeah. Anyway, so that was that plug. Let's turn the plugs over to the panels, and then we'll go home because we've done our job. How about Mark Coughlin?
Just wanted to shout out to the Waterloo Region EVA. If you're in the KW area, we'll be showing off EV vehicles, answering questions, telling people how they operate in the region at Ribfest coming up this Saturday in Cambridge, Ontario. So drop by and say hello. And also, if you're out there and you've got a Tesla and you want to make a little road trip, on August 24th, we've got we're opening a service center basically here in Kitchener. You can fill out a form at tinyurl.com/TeslaBBQ and fill it out if you want to join us and have some barbecue and talk to a bunch of Tesla owners.
Will actual Teslas be barbecued?
Yes.
How expensive.
Older ones.
You Canadians are weird.
You barbecue in the frunk. Dude.
Yeah.
It's perfect size for about 8 racks of ribs. They fit right in there.
Oh, I like that idea.
Yeah.
I like that. Line it with like some, enameled metal, and then just like, oh man, can you imagine how good it would smell to be behind that car? Oh, I love that.
Don't forget the drip tray.
I love that all these events are food events too, Mark.
That's right. Yep.
You
Gotta
know,
keep the food rolling. Yep.
Ribfest, the Tesla BBQ. Like, why can't I live closer to Mark? Oh, damn.
Because you like sunny California.
I love sunny California, actually. Dr. Fusco.
I do have a shout out tonight. I know. Are you ready? Shout out to Google Hangouts.
Oh. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Hey, goodbye, Google Hangouts.
Yeah.
There you go.
Rest in
Good
peace.
riddance.
You served us well, and then you were yanked away. Casey Green, tell me where I can see that story about Ubers and Teslas and rental vehicles.
All right, so if I make any video on it, you'll find it at youtube.com/Casey Green. That's KACEYGREEN. And if I don't make any video about it, I'll just talk about it right here or on the Tesla Live.
All right.
Probably on the Tesla. Well, you can talk about it here, of course. I mean, I
And if I talk about it, Russell's going to make us drink.
no. I am much more positive on the Tesla Life.
No, if I talk about it here, you're going to make us drink.
Oh, here? Yeah, you guys are going to drink like. For those of you not vomiting already, I want to give a big shout out to Tony Schaefer, my co-host, who is away this month, and we miss you terribly. And we look forward to your return, your triumphant return in September, my friend. Of course, my longtime co-host and co-founder, Danny Cooper, is not here this week because he hasn't been here in 3 years. He doesn't like us anymore. As always, I want to thank Michael Mannering for our amazing theme music. Visit him at manthing.com. You can find us at What Drives Us all over social media. Facebook.com/What Drives Us. We're at What Drives Us on Twitter. And of course, if you want to support the show, go to patreon.com/What Drives Us Show. There you can support the show for as little as $1 a month. That is less than 25 cents per show. We need your contributions. Please go there. Donate a buck a month. That's all.
Yeah, and if you're a Patreon supporter, Russell won't shake his finger at you like that during the show.
He'll be shaking it at other people, not you.
Do you want me to shake something else? Like Moneymaker? Is that what you're talking about? Casey's like, whoa, everybody got back from the camera like I was really going to come in. Yeah. I think
not put my eye close to it. I'm saying that.
Welcome to the new SCTV program, Extreme Close-Up.
Really scary. Ooh. What a great show that was. That's all I got, I think. Anything else from you guys? No, I want to thank.
Give us a thumbs up on Facebook.
On Facebook?
Give us a thumbs up. Helps us out with numbers. We would really appreciate it.
Absolutely. Your support of the show for free, liking us on Facebook, giving us a thumbs up and subscribing on YouTube. All those things are so important. They cost you nothing. I'm sorry?
Writing a comment on YouTube.
Oh, yeah. There you go. A nice comment.
The video quality is...
It doesn't have to be nice, but we'd prefer it.
Yeah, the video quality that we're recording, that we're seeing tonight looks great. Let us know. Does it look better to you guys on YouTube? And how's the audio? Because this, as much of a pain as it was to suddenly have to do this, I think from the art end, as presenters, this looks awesome. And hopefully this will end up being a nice change for everybody. And if the quality is improved as we move forward.
Absolutely. And Casey, once again, you win. For prettiest video feed, you win. So I hate you, but you win. It's okay. I want to thank Mark Coughlin, Evan Fusco, and Casey Green for being on this amazing first Skype show. Yay! And thanks Skype for their free stuff until they take it away like YouTube did. Just mess with us. And most of all, of course, I want to thank all of you who watch and listen every week. We do the show for you. Thank you for leaving comments on YouTube. Thank you for staying with the show. I appreciate it. Download us next week and find out what drives us. Cue the music.